Dear all, my name is Gede Agung Ary Wisudiawan from Telkom University Indonesia. For ICACT 20 and 22, I have cooperated with my partner, Dr. Angelina Prima Kurniati. Our presentation today is about how is the learning process of student and lecturer at Cello LMS. In this paper, we know the learning and teaching activity in our learning management system using process mining. So we know what common sequence of activity in the teaching and learning process in one semester in program study. Data that we use in this paper based on our university learning management system. One of the advantages of implementing LMS in university is the automatic creation of an event log that is recorded by the LMS. The event log records step-by-step of the LMS usage by lecturers and students in the learning process. The event log is useful to support process analysis. Process analysis allows understanding of business processes by analyzing its activity and the activity sequence. Identification of the most common activity sequence carried out by lecturers and students during the learning process. Identification of exceptional sequence in certain groups of lecturers and students and their conformity to learning process implementation guideline at the university. Our case study is Telkom University has its own learning management system called Celo, which was developed based on the open source Moodle application. The case study in this research is learning in the study program 365 during the first semester of 2020 until 20 and 21. There are more than 1,700,000 events from the Moodle log table. Thank you. This is our research methodology in this paper. There are 5 phases from planning until evaluation. In planning phase, we develop the research question, scope of the research, and building the research team. The main research question is how is the learning process of student and lecturer at Cello LMS. Second phase is extraction. We extracted the Cello LMS event log obtained from the Moodle table. We extract log lecturer and student at LMS Cello at first semester in 2020 until 2021. There are 206 events from lecturer and 178,367 events from student. Third phase is data processing. We divided lecturer and student activity to know the both behavior activity in LMS. Data preprocessing is carried out to ensure that the available event logs are ready to be processed with the heuristic minor algorithm. We undertake a role-based data processing to separately analyze lecturer and student record. Phase 4 is mining and analysis. This is the main part of the study and consisting of process discovery, conformance checking, and analyzing steps. Process discovery was done using the heuristic miner on ProM tools. Heuristic miner was chosen in this study because this algorithm is one of the most used algorithms for process discovery that can deal with noise and can be used to express the main behavior recorded in an event log. In ProM, we use the interactive data hardware heuristic miner plugin that allow interactive setting, including several options of graph to represent the resulted process model. And the last phase is evaluation. Evaluation was done through an intensive discussion with the Cello team and further interview with representative of lecturers and questionnaire students to verify the finding. Okay, now I want to explain the learn planning phase. The scope of this research is the teaching and learning activity of lecturers and students in the study program 365 during the first semester of 2020 until 2021 as recorded in the Cello LMS. The main research question is how is the learning process of students and lecturers at Cello LMS and is divided into 3 questions. Question 1, How can we use process mining approach to analyze teaching and learning activities in an LMS? Question 2. What is the most common sequence of activity in the teaching and learning process? Question 3. What can we learn from analyzing the teaching and learning activity of lecturers and students that have been carried out for one semester in the study program 365? So, the research team consists of computer science as the process mining expert, who are also the author of this paper, and the silo team as the domain expert and the process owner.
Given log obtained from module table that are log store standard log, course category, and user. We use MySQL's workbench to process the table. The initial event log obtained is the event log of the entire study program from the university. Then event log was grouped based on existing study program. To get event log for each study program, the log store standard log table is matched with the course and course category tables in the course ID attribute. After getting the event log for each study program, then separating the record based on the lecture and student user, which is done by matching the log store standard log table with the user table on the user UID attribute. After getting the separate event log of student and lecturer, then filtering process is carried out based on component attribute. This filtering process sort out activities and resources such as assignment, quizzes, forum, chat, active quiz, and feedback. Resource in the form of resources, URL, S5P, folder, page, glossary, and book. The filtering process is done using the Disco application from Proxicon and ProM tools to analyze the event log using process mining. Column mapping. This is sample event log from extraction page. There are 9 attributes to use in process mining. To use this event log to process mining, we must mapping the event log attribute to correct process mining attribute. Import column mapping, there are user ID in table log to be case ID in process mining attribute, component to be activity, time to be timestamp, role to be activity, and other attribute like course ID, context ID, CRUD, target, event name that we use for further filtering. Data preprocessing phase. Data preprocessing is carried out to ensure that the available event log are ready to be processed with heuristic manner algorithm. In this case, data processing is to minimize redundant data log. There are 2 data processing steps as done to lecture and student data log. First, the lecture data processing. The first step is filtering the attribute, namely CRUD. There are create, read, update, and delete by selecting records that have CNU value. This step based on LMS behavior. At the time the lecture add and change learning material like activities or resources, LMS will add record to truth attribute with CNU value. R value for read or view the learning material, D value for delete learning material. So we can ignore this both value. After filtering truth attribute, then we did the merge subsequent event process assessed by ProM tools using the merge subsequent event plugin to ensure that there are no redundant records. The second process is student data processing. We develop table mapping to mapping event name attribute to activity attribute in student data log. This table can filter activity value with their name value, the chosen from description, each sub-activity attribute. This process also to minimize redundant student log data. In student data log, there are case ID, activity, and event name attributes. For one activity, there are more than one event name. Example, quiz have more than one event name like attempt, view, attempt submitted, and course module view. that is called redundant. To minimize the redundancy, we must choose even name that exactly represent one activity, choosing process based on the table mapping. Table mapping that contain activity attribute, subactivity, and description attribute. Especially in subactivity attribute, exactly one subactivity attribute that represent the activity. Example, quiz represent by attempt submitted. This process make one quiz activity to one even name that is attempt submitted. So there are no redundant in the data log. Mining and analysis phase. This is the main part of the study and consisting of process discovery, conformance checking, analysis step. Process discovery was done using the heuristic manner on ProM tools. In ProM, we use the interactive dataware heuristic miner plugin that allow interactive setting, including several options of grade and to present the result process model. Process model discovered using heuristic manner was then checked of its conformance to the trace in the event log and vice versa. Conformance checking was done by measuring fitness precision and generalization. Then we analyze the model with trace variant and dotted chart. Dotted chart for lecturer, trace variant for the student. This is lecture process model. The lecture process model also shows the lecturer performs several activities with the three most frequent activities being assignment, quiz, forum. That percentage is more than 1%. It is also shown in the table that chat and data are rarely used by the lecturer during their teaching activity through the LMS. This finding suggests potential recommendation to promote chat and data to be used more often by the lecturer. Forum is the first activity that lecturer did at the beginning of the semester. Forum contain lecture contact, class information. Usually, lecturer posts about the information to their student using forum post. The last activity in the semester is assignment. Assignment is used to collect student grade from the final exam. More detailed analysis for lecture data log also can be done by examining the dotted chart. Dotted chart shows the most frequent activity is assignment point by light blue dot. This reflects the fact that most lecturers use LMS mostly for managing assignment for the student. The dotted chart also shows duration range from a few days up to nearly 5 months. This reflects the real situation where some lecturers have used LMS much more than the other lecturer. The other analysis of lecture data log was done by checking the first and the last activity of lecturer traces. The most frequent first activity are forum, assignment, or quiz. This finding reflects the reality based on interview to the lecturers. They are start using the LMS during a semester by a forum, assignment, or quiz. The most frequent last activity are assignment, forum, or quiz. This finding also reflects the reality where lecturers are mostly use assignment, forum, or quiz to end their teaching during the semester. In the student process model, there are 15 activities and resources they did by student in one semester. The top 6 student activities are resource, assignment, URL, forum, quiz, and H5P. Their percentage is more than 1%. From the process model, we can see first student activity in the beginning of the semester is forum. In forum activity at the beginning of semester, there are posts about class information like the contact of the lecturer, the conference link, or other class information. The most learning material the student access is resource. Resource contain lecture slide, book file, and other course material that can student use in one semester. The second popular activity is assignment. Assignment is using to collect the student homework and get test or exam. The URL is the third popular activity. URL usually contain conference link or learning material from outside LMS. In the end of semester, there are quiz or assignment that student did. Quiz and assignment usually used to collect the grade of final exam for the semester. More detailed analysis for the student log was done by examining the trace variant diagram. The figures show the top 8 most frequent trace variant cover 488 out of 3,994 traces. Each row in a trace variant diagram represents a trace variant. The rows in the trace variant diagram are ordered from the most frequent variant to the least frequent one. Each color shape represents an activity. The student process model shows that the top 4 variants consist of one activity each. There are 186 students only use forum, 74 students only use URL, 64 students only use quiz, and 50 students only use resource in one semester. The deeper analysis for student was done by checking the first and the last activity done by student. The top 3 most frequent first activity are forum, resource, and URL. This finding reflects the reality from questionnaire to student, where most students access forum, resource, or URL in the beginning of their learning activity in the LMS. Other activities are infrequent, less than 10%, which are assignment, quiz, H5P, page, chat, glossary, and book. Then, the top 3 most frequent last activity are assignment, quiz, and forum. This finding reflects the reality where most students access assignment, quiz, and forum in the end of their learning activity during the semester. It also related to the fact that most lecturers give assignment or quizzes to assess student understanding in the end of semester, or forum to discuss further topic in the learning activity. Evaluation was done through interview and questionnaire to lecturer and student. The evaluation was especially done by questionnaire to 34 student respondents and interview to 5 lecturers. Questionnaire contain questions about what their activity at the beginning and the end of their class for each semester. Students can choose more than one activity for each question from the questionnaire. The lecturer respondent interviewed about whether the process model is compatible with their activity in the LMS and how they start and ending their semester. From interview to 5 lecture, they agree with the process model was developed use process mining. The lecturer initiate their lecturing activity in the LMS with forum. In their first post at the forum, they can inform the student how they run the class. For the example, at the first post in the forum, the lecturer usually publishes their email or video conference link so the student can contact their class lecturer at the time. And the 2 other lectures, they use quiz or assignment at the beginning of the semester. Quiz or assignment contain pretest. The pretest is used to know the student knowledge about each topic. So at the class meeting, using video conference, the lecturer can initiate the material subject based on the student pretest result. At the end of the semester, the lecturer agreed that they use assignment and quiz to take final score at the semester. And forum used to know the student opinion about student learning experience is that semester. The last forum is usually used to discuss about every topic in the classmate or the other topic. Student evaluation. The evaluation was especially done by questionnaire to 34 students. Based on first question result, the first activity the student was access is forum, that is 25%, then followed by resource file, also 25%, then quiz 19%, assignment 17%, H5P 10%, and URL 3%. Both result between the most first student activity described in process model and first activity from questionnaire result is forum. So between first activity in process model and the evaluation is match. The result from second question about the activity that access at the end of the semester is assignment, that is 30%, then followed by quiz 27%, resource file 19%, S5P 10%, forum 8%, and URL 6%. From the result of questionnaire, that assignment is the most activity was assessed by student at the end of the semester. The questionnaire result match to process model from student questionnaire. The conclusion about this research is the first process mining can be used to analyze the teaching or learning activity carried out by lecturer and student during a semester. Process mining can also be used to analyze the sequence of activity during the teaching or learning process. We analyzed the duration of lecture activity and found that the duration ranged from a few days up to 5 months. We also analyzed the first and last activity carried out by lecturer and student. The most frequent first activity of lecture are assignment, forum, and quiz, while the most frequent first activity of the student are forum, resource, and URL. The third, the finding of the study experiment can be used to improve understanding on how the process has been carried out and suggest improvement. Based on the finding of the most frequent activity carried out by lecturers and students, we can suggest the university to promote other functionality to be used by the lecturer and student. For example, lecturers should be introduced to the LMS functionality other than assignment, forum, and quizzes. This study can potentially be reproduced and further developed to the implement process mining in larger scope of study. Potential future work is to apply this approach to analyze and compare teaching or learning process in several study programs, to improve data processing approach by generating ontology mapping on the activity in the process, and to recommend improvement in the teaching and learning process using the LMS. Thank you.